Hello, children. Today we will do the lesson A Letter to God, which is written by G.L. Puntis. Okay. Now, G.L. Puntis was a famous chroniclers among famous chroniclers, and this story is very interesting. In a very delicate way, it has been. I mean, এটা হচ্ছে না কিছু বুঝেছো? আমি এটাকে আবার করছি। Good morning, students. Welcome back. It's Sukanya teacher. Today we'll read the lesson A Letter to God, which is written by G.L. Fuentes. His full name is Gregorio Lopez Fuentes, who was a Mexican novelist, poet, and journalist. He was one of the leading chroniclers of the Mexican Revolution. He was born on 17th November 1895 in Mexico and died on 10th December 1966, Mexico City. Now, we will start the lesson. This is about your faith on God. It is correctly said that faith can move mountains. But the thing is that in which thing you have to put your faith. This story is about a farmer whose name is Lancho, whose crops are ruined, and he was desperate to get some help. And he was a believer in God. So he decided to write a letter to God for help. Now, let us start reading the lesson line by line. The house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. Now, what is the meaning of crest? Crest means peak. There was a low hill. There was a low hill, that means a valley like, and on the top of it there was only one house. No other house was there around. From this height, one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. So, from the top of that hill, everything was visible. What was visible? The river and the field of ripe corn. And it was bearing the flowers that always promised a good harvest, that the crop will be very nice. Only thing the earth needed was a downpour or at least a shower. That means it was very dry, and the crop and the farmer both were waiting for rain. Downpour means heavy rain or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lencho, now this is the name of the farmer, Lencho, who knew his fields intimately means very closely, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Now, why he was seeing the sky? Because he was waiting for the rain. Because for a good harvest, rain was very important at that point of time. Now we are really going to get some water woman, the woman who was preparing supper. Now, what is supper? Supper means the meal for the evening, dinner, you can say. Now we are really going to get some water, woman. The woman who was preparing supper replied, yes, God willing. That means, yeah, God wants this and we should get the rain. The older boys were working in the field while the smaller ones were playing near the house until the woman called to them all, come for dinner. It was during the meal. So you can see that an evening sight where the mother was preparing the dinner, and after the preparation or cooking, she called all of them for the dinner. Now they all sat together for the dinner. At that time, Lancho had predicted big drops of rain began to fall. Lancho sensed it. He came to know that yes, rain has started. It was big drops of rain. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. The air was fresh and sweet. Why it is said to be fresh, we can understand, but sweet. Sweet was a sense in the heart of those people who were waiting eagerly for the rain to come, isn't it? The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. Now, here, the man, that is Lancho, he was waiting so eagerly for the rain that he became very happy and excited when he sensed that yes, rain has begun. So he went out of the house for no other reason but only to feel the pleasure, feel the rain on his body. And when he returned, he exclaimed, these are not raindrops falling from the sky, they are new coins. That means he wanted to say that these are not merely raindrops, but they are coming in form of coins. Why coins? Because if rain comes, it will give him a good harvest. Good harvest means good money. So he's saying that these are new coins. The big drops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are fives. Got it, students? What he wanted to say, he even imagined the value of the raindrops in terms of coins, money. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in a curtain of rain. He was very happy and satisfied. Yes, it was happening exactly how he wanted it to be. The rain, the field, the corn-free field, it was fully covered with rainwater, and the crops had drank the water. It was drenched in water. Okay, draped means covered. Now suddenly something happened. It changed. Now what happened? But suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. Now this was very bad for the crops. Hailstorms always destroy the crops and the fields. We know that, isn't it? That ball of ice. Hailstones began to fall. This truly did resemble new silver coins. Now, actually, they visibly were the silver coins now because they were shining and it was round and all. But actually, it was ruining the crops. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. Now, the writer has over here, he has compared the hailstones with pearls because they were seemingly white colored and like coins, round in shape, almost round in shape. So all were happy. They were enjoying the rain and even the hailstones. Children went out. They were dancing in the rain and the hailstorm, and they were collecting those pieces of ice. That is the hailstones. It's really getting bad now. That shows it continued. It continued, and it was now bad for the crops. They realized this. Exclaimed the man, I hope it passes quickly. It did not pass quickly, but it did not happen so. It continued, and it continued in a way which was not good for the crops. For an hour, the hail rained on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, on the whole valley. The field was white as if covered with salt. Now, see what happened. It continued for one long hour, and because of that, the whole area was covered with this hailstones, and it was white all over as if it was covered with salt. Not a leaf remained on the trees. All the leaves fell down. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his sons, a plague of locusts. Now, what is the meaning of locust? Locusts, insects which fly in big swarms. That is, in a big group, they would come and they would eat up all the crops in that field. So, Lencho is comparing this condition with the attack of the locusts. He said that a plague of, that is, an attack of locusts would have left more than this. Now, these hailstones have destroyed the things in a way which would have been better even if the locust would have attacked the field. They would have left at least something. The hail has left nothing. It destroyed the whole field, isn't it? This year we will have no corn. That night was a sorrowful one. Now everyone was sad in that family because their whole crop was destroyed. And for a farmer, when the crop is destroyed, that means everything is destroyed. They cannot get their food, they cannot sell it, they cannot earn the money out of it. That means that whole year is economically and emotionally destroyed for that family. All our work for nothing. All their hard work went into vain. It was of no help now. There's no one who can help us. We will all go hungry this year. Now, they were very sad and they were apprehensive that they are going to be hungry throughout the year because no crops, no money, nothing. But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of that valley, there was a single hope, help from God. Now, here we are getting one more word which is new to you, that is solitary. Solitary means lonely. Earlier only we read that lonely, that is, that house was only one on the crest of that hill. So, solitary means lonely house. Only one thing was left, that was the hope. Hope of what? Hope of getting help from God. Don't be so upset, even though this seems like a total loss. Remember, no one dies of hunger. That's what they say, no one dies of hunger. So these are the conversations going among themselves to console each other. Okay, don't worry. It happened, but don't worry, we won't die of hunger. Something will happen. God will help us. So they were, comforting each other. All through the night, Lencho thought only of his one hope, the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything, even when, even what is deep in one's conscience. So Lencho was taught from his childhood that nothing is, God can see everything. Even if it is your conscience, that also is seen by God. He knows everything. what you are thinking, what is in your heart, what is in your brain. So he had full faith on God, isn't it? Lenchu was an ox of a man. Now, what is it? He wasn't an ox actually. This is a phrase. An ox of a man is a phrase which means that he was very strongly built. He was a strong man and he used to work a lot, very hard on his field for his crop, working like an animal in the field. So here he's been compared to an ox, metaphor you can say, compared to an ox who can work very hard. So he was hardworking like an ox. But still he knew how to ride. Normally, in those days, we know that farmers are not very literate. They were not going to schools and all. But Lencho was a person, in spite of being a farmer, he knew a little bit how to write. So, what he planned, let us see. The following Sunday at daybreak, daybreak means the very morning, early morning, dawn. Okay, daybreak, he began to write a letter which he himself would carry to town and place in the mail. So he planned to write a letter. It was nothing less than a letter to God. And to whom he was writing the letter? He planned to write a letter to God. Actually, he was so innocent. He thought that I would write a letter to God and that will reach him and God will help us, because only God can help us now. No other hope was remaining, isn't it? Now he started writing the letter. God, he wrote, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need 100 pesos. Now, what is peso? Peso is a currency of several Latin American countries. Okay, how we call paisa, just like that, peso, a very minimal amount. So he started writing to God. He said, God, he wrote, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes. Because the hailstorm, and he continued explaining the things, what happened to his cornfield, how it got destroyed, and everything. Now his demand was very small, isn't it? His need was very small. He was such an innocent soul. He asked only about 100 pesos. Out of that 100 pesos, he would use the amount for the uh, you know sowing of his field, so that he can again grow the crops and fill the stomach of his family members. He wrote to God on the envelope. That is, we write the address to, right? So over that place, he had written to God. Put the letter inside and still troubled went to town. Still troubled means he was very much disturbed in his mind. He was not sure whether it will work or not. But he continued. He went to town. At the post office, he placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox. And he is done with his things now. He wrote the letter to God. He put a stamp on it. He went to the town, to the post office. He put a stamp on it and he posted it lastly. One of the employees, who was a postman and also helped at the post office, went to his boss, laughing heartily, and showed him the letter to God. Now, this was the postman, he would carry the letters to all the addresses, right? So he got the letter and he went to the boss of his post office and he laughed heartily. And he showed the letter to him, that is to the boss. And he told him that, see, this letter is for God. The letter is written to God. Never in his career as a postman had he known that address. Now, who knows where God lives, isn't it? So the postman was laughing. He said, how I will deliver this? Because I don't know the address of God. The postmaster, he was a fat, amiable means friendly and pleasant. Okay. So this is the description of the postmaster to whom that postman has gone to show the letter. He was very friendly and helpful fellow. Also broke out laughing. He also started laughing, but almost immediately he turned serious and tapping the letter on the desk commented, what faith! I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter, starting up a correspondence with God. Now, this man, at first he started laughing, but suddenly he thought and he got serious. He thought that how innocent that person is and what a faith, what a deep faith, unshakable faith he has on God. If you have such an unshakable faith, then only you can write a letter, isn't it? Because otherwise, all of us know that we can't write a letter to God. We don't know where He lives and all, isn't it? So that was really an extraordinary incident for the postman. And he was amazed to see the faith of Lancho, who literally wrote this letter and started a correspondence with God, that is communicating. Correspondence means communication. He started a talk, a communication with God. So, in order not to shake the writer's faith in God, the postmaster came up with an idea. He was very much moved by the innocence and the faith of Lancho on God. So, what he did, he thought that his faith should not be shattered. So, he came up with a plan, with an idea. Answer the letter. He thought that I would answer the letter so that the man, that is Lancho, would believe, yes, the God has responded and he has actually given reply to my letter. But when he opened it, it was evident that to answer it, he needed something more than goodwill, ink and paper. Now to write a letter merely, only things are needed is a paper, ink, isn't it? And he was good enough, a good soul who would, I mean, very much compassionate, and he wanted that the faith in God of that person be as it is. But what was inside the letter? We know that Lencho wanted 100 pesos, isn't it? So there was something more if he wanted to help the person. So what he did, but he stuck to his resolution. So he thought that okay, I will do that also. I will arrange the money and I'll send it to him so that he will believe, yes, God has actually helped me. He asked for money from his employees. He himself gave part of his salary, and several friends of his were obliged to give something for an act of charity. Now, this was became a great, what to say, charity for that whole group. The employees of the post office, postmaster, and even some of his friends outside this post office, everyone contributed for this 100 pesos. It was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos, so he was able to send the farmer only a little more than half. That means more than 50 pesos. That much he could arrange, and he decided that he will send this much. So he was able to send the farmer only a little more than half. He put the money in an envelope addressed to Lancho and write it and with a letter containing only a single word as a signature, God. That means the letter is from God and it was addressed for Lancho. That is, the letter will reach Lancho and he put the money inside it. The following Sunday, Lencho came a bit earlier than usual to ask if there was a letter for him. Now he was also waiting very eagerly for his letter, isn't it? So next Sunday, he came early than usual and he asked that if any letter was for him. He expected the letter from the God. It was the postman himself who handed the letter to him, while the postmaster, experiencing the contentment of a man who has performed a good deed, looked on from his office. Now, that postman who had seen the letter of Lencho, he only handed over that letter to him, inside which the money was there. And the postmaster, that is the boss of that post office, he was very satisfied. He was very satisfied because within he was knowing that we have done something good for this person, and some help at least we could have done. We have done. So he was looking from his office that what would be the expression on the face of that man, how he would react and all. Okay. Lencho showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money. Such was his confidence. Now he was so confident that yes, God will surely answer me. He was not at all surprised seeing the money because he was very much sure that yes, God will send the money for me. But he became angry when he counted the money. And when he saw the money, he started counting it. Now, when he counted, it was not 100, it was less than 100, isn't it? Because that much they could manage. God could not have made a mistake, nor could he have denied Lancho what he had requested. Now he was furious. He thought that God God won't make a mistake, isn't it? He asked for 100 pesos and this amount is less. So God cannot make the mistake. He must have sent 100 pesos only. Nor could he have denied. And God would never deny what Lencho had requested for, that is 100 pesos. That means he was pretty much sure that God must have sent 100 pesos only. Immediately, Lencho went up to the window to ask for paper and ink. On the public writing table, he started to write with much wrinkling on his brow. That means wrinkling his brow because he was very angry. He was upset. He was like, where the rest of the money gone? So he immediately took the paper and ink. He kept the paper on the public writing table and he started to write. Caused by the with much wrinkling of his brow, caused by the effort he had to make to express his ideas. When he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp, which he licked. Okay, that means he made it wet with his saliva and then affixed to the envelope with a blow of his fist. Okay, he licked it, he put the stamp on the envelope and he thumped on it. That is, with a blow of his fist. The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster went to open it because they were also excited. What would be the reaction of that man? He must be thanking God, isn't it? So indirectly, that would be a thank to the group of the postmaster that because they have done the good work, charity. Now he opened it and he started reading. It said, God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest. So he was complaining. He said that I asked for 100 pesos and only 70 pesos reached me. So you sent me the rest, 30 pesos. Since I need it very much because that much is my minimum requirement. I want at least 100 pesos. But don't send it to me through the mail because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Lancho. Now see, this is the really, highlight of the story, you can say, where lastly he termed the employees of that post office as crooks. Crooks means they are not honest people. So what he thought actually, he must have thought that the rest of the pesos are being taken by the employees of the post office. That's why he got only 70 pesos. God must have sent 100 only. Out of that, the employees must have took out uh, 30 pesos, and so he got only 70 pesos. So he requested God to send him the money by some other means, not through this mail, because this postman or the employees of this post office, they would take the money again out maybe. So he was very much concerned, and he wanted his remaining 30 pesos. So this was the story. I hope you enjoyed it, and go through the lesson again. So thank you, students. Have a great day. Stay safe.